Okay, I think we should be live. Exciting stuff. Hello, everybody. It's the Stardock stream. I'm Adam. This is Paul.
Hello.
I made a fancy new intro screen so you can see us briefly anyway, because I don't want to show off my amazing bald spots any more than I have to. Although I kind of appreciate the beard that Paul has brought.
Oh yeah,
to the post 2014 world.
It's my Christmas break beard that I haven't shaved yet.
I appreciate it for one.
Yeah, everybody is giving me is like, oh, I like the beard, but it makes me look really old, so I don't love it. I'm probably going to trim it. Although I found it makes me look thinner because you see a guy with a big beard and you say he should be fat. So
I'm trying to say.
I'm just saying most neckbeard people are not terribly thin.
I have had a full beard the entire time you've known me. What are you trying to tell me?
I'm saying you are the exception to the rule.
Excellent. I'm sorry if my mic is peaking here, guys. I'm having some issues with my level.
Holy crap. So. This must be, I must accidentally set to, or we're just lucky. I wonder if is that within 1, 2, 3?
I'm so glad we got those art pieces in.
For the events, yeah. And we still have a lot more to go. Those are mostly filler right now. It's like there's like one called Zero G horse racing, and it's got like a picture of like some sort of awesome black hole looking thing, you know. So I'm gonna move this guy.
Gilmoy tells me that my laugh is too loud, which is probably a Gilmoy problem.
Everybody's laugh is too loud because we are not professional sound people. And there's a lot of art that goes into good sound.
That's right.
Radio guy.
That's right. Although
but we try. It's actually amazing we sound as good as we do.
Hey, I put a fair amount of effort into setting up this studio. Thank you very much.
I'm just saying, if you're not spending hours editing and stuff,
that's
this
true.
Stuff slips through. We could probably use some noise gates though. But that's about all I can think of.
You know, the noise gates I don't think would actually help us that much because we don't have a lot of like ambient sound or anything coming through or pops or anything. Like these mics are pretty good, which is what the noise gates would help with. And we're not breathing into them. I'm not breathing into my mic anyway. I don't know about you.
Breathe into my mic.
I think people probably tuned into the stream to listen to us our
complain about
super
sound,
professional opinions on sound. That's right.
Okay. Anyways, so we're back. It's going to be a little bit of a weird podcast, or not podcast, the stream today because we're in a lot of rejiggering of things. We've got a build here that is got some half implemented stuff. We are not going to, on purpose, show the battlefield today.
Oh, you're not going to show it?
I don't want to show it yet. It's almost there.
It's
probably next week.
It's in this build.
It is in this build, but I'll auto-resolve. And that's why I said on purpose, because I wouldn't be surprised if I accidentally hit go. And then I'm like, oh, auto-resolve. Mostly just because it's not done. We've still got a lot of weird quirks. We got missiles firing them, rotated the wrong direction when they're going to kill things. And mostly the thing that is that's going to make such a big difference. And even
this is new, by the way.
What?
This screen, or the screen that you were just on. Sorry, I'm actually watching the broadcast, not the.
Oh.
So I'm a couple seconds behind. But the research screen is new.
Oh, and I probably even shouldn't have shown. Okay, so it's going to be full screen now,
right.
And this is a temp robot that I put in here just to show where the advisor will be.
Our cinematics team is working on new.
And for the next beta, there'll probably be this robot, but he'll be alive and doing stuff. Whereas eventually we're going to have actual advisors. And this will be your background, so that'll be animated. So it's a little different here. One thing that's already not in here is this. When you select a specialization, instead of being over here, it'll pop up right here. So you can go planetary specialization, enhanced, and that way it feels a lot more like this is the one I'm adjusting. And especially when you have multiple ones on there, it gets really confusing as to, wait a second, because they tend to start looking alike over here. And also, I didn't want people having to zip all the way across the screen. Also, now you'll notice that the layout is very similar to the tech tree. So these two, right now they kind of pop between, but eventually they'll smoothly transition between each other. You'll also, you'll also be able to go back, which you can't do right now. This back button does nothing. So actually this already in the build, Sarah's actually already done, I think, most of this downstairs. And now the research unlock is also going to have the advisor and be the same look. So you'll be able to get the advisor will come up and say, hey, you've unlocked this thing. You can say research next, and then the screen will just turn to the research screen instead of there being a pop, pop, pop. So it'll appear to be different modes of the same screen. Yeah, so that's new. Mostly cosmetic changes to that, which is sometimes nice, actually. I'm close enough here. Sorry.
That's okay. While you get your stuff together, I wanted to do a little programming note. We love to take your questions on the stream here. If you're new, we like to try to get any questions that you have that you want to ask to Paul. He is the lead designer of Gal Civ 3, so he can really speak to anything about the game.
Or at least make it up.
Or at least make it up. We've definitely made some things up on the stream before. But please do put your questions in the chat. You can also, we always troll the forums, our forums at galciv3.com, and the Steam forums as well for questions to try to answer on the stream. But if you do want to put them in the chat, please tag at Stardock on there. It makes it a lot easier for me just as the host to find them. You can see how it looks like. I think somebody had done it, Gilmore, somebody did it upstream a little bit in the chat. But once the chat gets going, it's hard for me to keep track of it while also running the stream. So tag at Stardock, it pops it for me. It makes it much easier. Anyway, proceed.
Okay, a couple really quick things. Like I said, this build is kind of a weird bastard child, so don't judge me if you see weird things. But a couple things you'll notice. Stars are closer together, and that is because I fixed a bug. Hey, what's that? I fixed a bug in the galaxies are going to suddenly feel a lot better when you play. So it is weird. It's like literally like, oh wow, it just makes a big difference, and so that you'll find to be a very pleasant little change. What else is weird in here? Oh, I have a half implemented. Actually, it's completely implemented, but art missing ideology screen. So please do not.
Are you going to show it?
Do not judge the fact that there's art missing. Okay.
I think you should show it. I think it looks
all right. So this is the ideology screen now. So you'll see that there is. Each race has 5 tiers like before, or 4 tiers like before, but now there's 5 traits per tier, and as you go up them, you can pick. As you unlock, you can pick any of the lower ones, anything that's not locked. So. And they will all be the same price. So if I pick this one, then this one will cost the same as this one. If I pick this one, then it'll cost the same as this. So you'll essentially, if you want to go straight all the way up to 5, you can, and it'll cost you the same as doing 4 down and 1 up. So you have this really option of kind of picking it up. So if you look out here, like the 5 ones tend to be pretty awesome. So this is crazy. Vigilant. All ships in your fleet get a free escrow fighter.
Huh.
All, period. Now that I might change to all fleets get 1 or 2, but we're going to test it with all. So literally, you have a survey ship, it gets attacked, a fighter spawns with it and defends it. If you have 5 freighters and they get attacked, 5 escorts will defend it. Now,
awesome.
That said, that's a level 5 thing. It's going to be hard to get to, but it is totally worth it. If anything, I've kind of overpowered these. The beginning ones are still a little simple. The Preparedness Center, that essentially gives you a bunch of bonuses to invasion, but it also, to defense, but it also generates pragmatic points every time you build it. So this way you can literally, you put one on each of your planets, you can actually gain enough things to buy a trade. But it also does, so those are cool. Builder still gives you constructors. Traders gives you a freighter. Negotiators, no one can declare war on you for 100 turns. A lot of these are things that you've already seen. Let's see what else we got here. One of my favorite new ones. I don't know. I really cranked up a lot of these. I have one where it's like every Builders 3, all star bases get a free module.
Huh, that's awesome.
So now you grab that early game. Maybe it's kind of nice. You grab it late game when you have 30 star bases. That's like money in the bank. Builders 5 the highest builders one, all construction modules give you 2 points. So you can build 2 modules with every constructor. So there's a lot of kind of, like I said, if anything, a little overpowered ideology. Oh, don't look at this picture. We don't own the rights to this picture. I shouldn't check that out. Okay, so pioneering, same thing. Let's see, what are the good ones? Quantum Leap. Oh, here's one. I like this Quantum Leap. It's a little more subtle, but you get 500 free research points, which is great. Depending on where you are in the game, that can be quite a few techs. But all planets then generate 5 research regardless of spending. So that is a big one. Radiant. Yeah, I mean, there's just, and these will all have pretty icons, which is why I didn't really want to show the screen.
I think it's worth talking about.
There's a lot of neat ones like all star bases. This is one of the things all star bases, even regardless of type, will suddenly start giving a bonus. Or, there's still a couple that are kind of normal, but as you get higher up, they tend to be much more impressive, at least gameplay-wise, than they were before. All tile, all planets get a tile. All planets get 2 tiles. There's one malicious one, malevolent one. Let's see, transports. Oh yeah, all transports. I thought was kind of this transport module. It essentially unlocks a new type of transport module that comes with defending ships.
Oh, sweet.
So it comes with fighters, essentially. So it's subtle, but man, when you're an invading force and you're now I don't have to defend all those transports I'm sending out as avidly. It's a big deal. There's one in Awe where, I almost took this out because I worry it'll piss off people in multiplayer, but it's a one-time thing, so I kind of like it. Someone bordering your area of control, whether you're at war with them or not, a random planet will flip to you. so now that's awesome in single player.
Yeah, that would be a little frustrating.
Until the one guy, but you got all the way up there and bam. So I think that one is kind of cool. It's a little game breaking.
We have a question relevant to ideology here from the chat. Patrick Sieve asks, will the choices in the tree be definite, or will you have some functionality to change or reshape your ideological traits? Like, once you choose something, is that chosen?
Once you choose it, it's chosen. But what we are going to do is change it so you don't have to pick. You're not forced to pick one.
Oh, you can sit and bank your points.
You can bank them, but it won't do you any good because they'll cost the same. Essentially, what's going to happen is if you bank them, then you can buy 2 instead of 1. And you can't skip. You can't go, I'm going to skip to this 3rd one. So if you want to get to the 3rd one on Outreach, you have to do the 1st and 2nd ones. Huh. So to that point, it's still rigid. But it's less rigid than the other in that now you have 4 options all the time. Well, theoretically, once you've gone all the way up to 1, you won't have 4 options anymore. So that is the plan. This little things up here will prompt you and tell you how many points you have. These will have better descriptions and pretty icons. But it is already a much. They all feel a lot more special. It's a little when I point at something that's like get a free frigate. Maybe that's not as awesome, but as you get to the higher ones, you go, okay, I see what you're doing here. It's pretty neat. So yeah, the new ideology system is in and working. It's missing art. We'll have art in there, at least some art for the beta, better descriptions. And in theory, I would like all of the ideology traits to be working. There's one that is based on a minor race, and since minor races won't be in it, I might just push it or hide it or something so that people can still get it.
We got a bunch of questions in the chat if you want to try to get
well,
to
let me really quick, what else?
Sure.
What's coming into the next beta is finally getting Extreme Worlds in. So that's going to be nice. And so you'll be able to colonize. And like if you play as the Yor, you can colonize some of them instantly. So that's a really nice perk too. So
sweet. I've been looking forward to Extreme Worlds for a while.
Yeah, it's all coded in there. Right now there's only one because I'm testing them, but I've got actually I have the data for all of them. I just haven't put them into the game yet.
Sure. Let's see. When will the ship designer get its next update? Asks Hamel Mac, who is one of our contestants in one of our finalists, I believe, in the ship designer contest that we did a little while back.
That's always my question because I'm a giant. ship designer guy.
You are a huge nerd for the ship designer.
So I want it to be updated, but it's not right now. It works, so we really haven't had time to. Our next pass will be mostly polish, and that probably won't be till the last build.
Sure,
not the last build, but the last round before we go out.
Gotcha.
And then I will say that it will probably get changed in the next expansion and the next expansion, because it's one of those things. It's like Photoshop. There's always more
Totally.
you can do with it.
Let's see. When will we get the next size up in maps?
You will get the next maybe 1 or even 2 size maps in Beta 4. At least 1.
Sweet.
Yeah. Ignore the giant square picture here. That's
we had another one from somebody who I can't. Oh, here we go. From Jacob asks, will there be map sizes bigger than Insane, or is Insane
not
the jam?
currently. Insane is huge. Insane. My
or
developers.
Is Insane bigger than huge?
Insane is bigger than huge. Insane is insanely large. It is 500. It's almost 500,000 tiles. The dev team thinks we're crazy for even having that. And so, but yeah, Insane will be, at least in the vanilla game, the largest size. But it is 4 times larger than the largest map in the final expansion of Galactic 2. So it's plenty big.
There you go.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we were just talking about, one of the things I want to have is like preset quick game things you can pick.
Sure.
And, for like Insane maps, I think there'll be certain formulas that will make the game fun.
Sure.
Whereas if you like do abundant with
on
play
an
that
Insane
game for 3
map,
years. Not only can you do that, you'll have the whole thing researched before you've met half the people. So, there's a lot of weird, like, is it worth it to have that big of a map? I'm going to play with one person. I mean, I guess your goal is to become a god and play, Farmville.
There you
can
go.
literally play 2 people on an Insane map and probably never meet and, go crazy. So that'll be fun. But, yeah, we'll be experimenting with what makes those fun. And of course, we'll always keep it flexible so players, can just do whatever they want. That's kind of the Galciv way.
That's true. We had a question from JB Brower. Will the map actually look like Spiral now? I think that's answered pretty well, actually, in some of the map that you've been showing. That we have.
Well, this one is not a spiral. This is
Isn't it?
No. This is This is a clustered or tight clusters or whatever. But yes, if you run the spiral map, it will look like a spiral. However, it will look less and less like a spiral as you get smaller and smaller.
Right.
Because you can't see the pattern. But yeah, if you run the spiral map on a huge, it's a spiral, and not only is it a spiral, it's like, your ship range is not long enough to get between the arms in most places. So, that said, we'll probably have some more spiral templates to kind of to shake it up a little. So yeah, we're working on that. That's one of my babies I kind of put in, and I need to spend some time polishing.
For sure. Can I give my scout ships racing stripes? You can totally give your scout ships racing stripes.
Not in the well.
Well, you could probably.
Ambitious designers can put racing stripes on their ship.
But at some point, you will be able to get decals and stuff that you'll be able to put on there. Let's see. Will we be able to see the benefits from mining depending on the number of resources?
Yes. It'll still be a little less than perfect because now that the battle viewer is finally coming in, we're going to finally start rolling in really the main reason for most of the resources. So you'll start feeling like, oh God, I really need that Durantium, instead of, oh, I've got some Durantium, what can I do with it? So that said, that's going to still always be balancing. So I will be working on that as we move forward.
Larsenex asks, when will we see improvements to Planetary Invasion and its mechanics?
That is something we were going to try and do for the next beta, but because we're focusing primarily on the battle viewer, it will probably not be till beta 5.
Okay. Let's see. We need production and research overflow and no science trade options. Can't play multiplayer without it.
You can't play
no science trade, like so turning tech trading off. I get that, but I guess this is from Norseman Viking.
I'm not sure why you wouldn't be able to play multiplayer with tech trading. I mean, there is an option.
I don't know. I'm not. I guess maybe.
Actually, there is an option to turn off tech trading, but it might not be hooked up. It might be disabled still. Ironically, there's a UP trait that turns it on. So obviously, we can do it. It just haven't hooked up this checkbox. But I am concerned. The overflow issue is kind of debated. I would need to know exact example of what he's talking about, because technically we do overflow, but we only overflow one tech out. So, or one tech or one research thing out. So if I am generating 100 per turn and there's a tech that only costs 50 or only costs 25, right? I'll get that tech, and then I might get and then it'll fill the next one, but I won't get the next one till the next turn. And that is mostly so that you don't get bang, 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 multiple turns. It's essentially a way of locking the player to one thing per turn, except for in certain cases like the ideology things where it'll pick you up. Research should overflow too, but like I said, they tend to cap at the next thing. You can't get like 5 things for the cost, even if you're making that much money. But it should never be thrown away. It just you'll not get it that turn. You'll get it the next turn. I'll double check on that, but I remember having this conversation a few times. I think the biggest problem is that we don't display that to the player properly.
Yep.
And therefore they don't. What the heck is this?
Did you break the game?
No. Why is this not letting me colonize it? Well, that's a bug.
That is a weird bug. Oh, because you're out of movement points.
Oh, no, but it gave me an error, or did I? Anyways, it's sometime. Oh, it was this ship. Oh, I sent it to colonize this, and I wasn't paying attention, and somebody colonized it while I was away.
There you go.
All right, you go here. I don't know.
Oh, that's one of your cheap ones with the 2 moves. Wall.
No, actually, what we did, here's another thing we did.
Okay.
I'm not doing a cheap one. We actually rejiggered the templates a little to make it so that players, so the starting colony ships, starting constructors are a little cheaper. But the problem with that was where is it? It's in here somewhere. Anyways, the problem with that was, it's in Galactic 2 we actually had a cheaper colony ship and a cheaper constructor, but the way we got that was by just not putting everything on it. We literally it's essentially making my cheap constructor, right? But our new smarter blueprint system goes, hey, I have room, right? Okay. So it goes, I have room, I'm going to put a bunch of life support and put a bunch of this on here, but now all of a sudden the ship costs twice as much.
Right.
So what we did was I made it so that the colony module is much bigger at first. And so you therefore have to research a tech that will then shrink the colony module, which will then allow you to put more crap on your ship. So the good news is that you can now get going a lot quicker. You have the same range, but they're slow. So it's not that I actually made them lower range, but they no longer have drives on them by default. So that's all that changed. And if you play Galactic 2, it's essentially the exact same thing. There was no drives on them. And what made it confusing was in Galactic 2, there was a drive on it that wasn't really there. There was like a cosmetic drive that somehow we cheated in. And it actually confused both me and Brad. We're like, well, we did it in Galactic 2. Why isn't it working? And then it's like, oh, we didn't do it. We have lied to ourselves. So, yeah, lots of little fun stuff like that going on.
Okay. We have a couple of guys in the chat saying that unless it's changed for the upcoming Beta 4, that queues are entirely lossy and they don't see any production or research overflow in-game.
I will double check that, but I think that should not be true. I think the problem is, like I said, it should roll over to the next turn, but I will confirm that. And if it isn't, then we'll address it. It's not as simple as just going, yeah, well, let's make it roll over, because there are weird things that can happen. Sure. So I will have to look into it. I don't want to just say, if not, we'll fix it. It'll be just like what you want. But what we'll do is we'll fix it and make sure that it's doing what we're saying it's doing. And then if you still don't like that, then we'll talk.
Right on. Let's see. A bunch of people spamming me with questions. Peregrine asks, is there any chance we will get an in-game blueprint editor? Like a way to kind of...
in-game?
Yeah. Or is that all defined in the
I
XML?
would say not in the basic thing, no.
Are those exposed in the XML?
Yeah. There's actually an editor I have, and when the game ships, you guys will have access to it. It's essentially just a list of parts. And he probably knows. If he knows, can I get an NK one? He's probably looked at the XML. I would say in the vanilla game, no, but that sounds like a great thing for either expansions or patches as we move forward when we start unlocking more. But honestly, it's not really necessarily something you would even want in the game. I mean, I guess if you wanted to essentially say, I guess what we could do here, just brainstorming, no promises, is we can make it so when you design a ship in the ship design where it says save as template, you could also say save as blueprint, and then it would just take everything that's on there and in the order you place them and mark them as the type of thing they are, and that could create a blueprint. But yeah, no, we don't currently have any plans for that. But you know how we are. We like to have as many, get up there, as many modder tools as possible. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually you get it. But for certain, you'll be able to do it through the XML or through an editor once the game is actually shipped.
Right on. Let's see. Can we see a sample of the battle viewer? No, you cannot.
No.
Possibly next week.
Trust
Paul
me.
keeps promising. I thought we were gonna have it.
Yeah,
And
Adam
so
wants to see it as much as anybody else. There's just it's so close, but there's so many little things that make it look bad, and we really don't want people. Now, all that said, hey, look, I have a trait. See, so it says 3 available. That means these 3 are available. I'm gonna get the builder because I love the builder. It gives me 3 constructors. The battle viewer that comes out in beta 1 will. Oh, it's not supposed to happen. The battle viewer that comes out in beta 1 will not. Beta 4 will not be final by any means, and so don't. I'm essentially trying to do some spin control because we talk about it all the time. Everybody's going to be like, "Oh, it's got to be awesome," but we actually have gameplay changes that we need to make. That will affect it. We have one of the things that I want to spend a lot of polish time on, so it won't even be till like beta 5, is we want to make the arenas that they're in pretty. Right now, is it just like stars kind of and nebulas? Yeah. Whereas we're going to have it be what's nearby asteroids and a planet and a nebula, and it's going to assemble a prettier environment because we want that epic space battle look. And if you play Sins or Endless Space, their arenas are literally just a sky map, and no matter where you're fighting, it's I guess they do some smart selection, but it's hey, there's asteroids here and this nebula and this star and this planet, and it's you're out in the middle, because so what we need to do is, because in Galaxy 3, unlike those games where you're fighting at a node, you can literally be out in the middle of nowhere. And if we go, here's the middle of nowhere star map, that's boring. So we need to come up with some really cool arenas. And that's mostly an art pass, so it's probably going to be one more beta out even from the initial battle viewer. But, there should be plenty of blowing up and explosions and flying around. It'll be, as good. It should be better, as good or better than the Galaxy 2 one for sure. And then we're going to say.
All right. Adojin asks, for future custom races, is there any thought to working on organic styles? That is to say, tech trees, tile types, and ship parts that support an organic alien type, which I think he's talking more about. I'm guessing he's talking more about ships and buildings and stuff that are organic. Think of the Zerg from StarCraft, right? Because
define organic. You mean it's
literally fleshopod bug ships and stuff. Is what I think he's getting.
It would be hard to do fleshopod because our ships are rigid. But as far as just creating a race and a lore all around that, it would be relatively trivial. It's the ships that would be challenging. That said, we do support. If you look at, we already have a lot of, not that much variation. We have some variation in the Altarians are very curvy. The Iridium and the Iconians, which are also very curvy and a little more organic. But yeah, and then lore-wise, of course, it's super easy. You just synthetic is actually, as far as life, seems to be harder for us. Hence the your population problem that I'm still trying to fix.
Also, your approval makes little sense to me.
I agree, and I'm probably gonna do something about that. Oh, I'm also gonna change, unless Brad stops me. I'm gonna change goods and services, which is the worst.
That is the worst title for anything
Worst
in a video
title
game
ever to morale. So you'll say, and we're going to do approval pop up. It'll be your approval is your population minus your morale.
Okay.
Simple, right? So right now it's your population minus your goods and services. And it's like, I don't want this resource gives you goods and services. So essentially that way fighting pits can boost morale, and entertainment centers can boost morale, and temples can boost morale. Those are all it makes more sense.
Sure.
And also morale is a word we used kind of as interchangeably with approval in Galciv 2. So it always bugged me, so I tried to switch all to approval. But this way morale can be a separate thing, but it's what you build.
Very cool. Hey, we crossed 200 viewers for the first time. That's exciting. Thank you everybody for joining us. We very much appreciate it. Let's see. We have tons of questions. I'm skipping a bunch of questions, for which I apologize. But ultimately, now that we have more viewers in this stream, we just can't ultimately get to all the questions. So I apologize if I skip your question. You can always ask it again. It's very possible it's been answered somewhere before, which is why I'm skipping it. Anyway, let's see. Did you have anything else you wanted to get at for Beta 4 here, Paul, before we go into the lightning round?
No, we had lots of cool stuff coming for Beta 4. Still not done, still beta, but it's going to be, hopefully it'll start answering some of your questions. I will just, in general, the next few months, things are going to start coming in pretty rapid fire, whether they to the player or not. So every build from this point on will be quite substantial. Mostly because our infrastructure is now more or less done, and we're doing the features. Whereas, up till now, it's always like, oh, we got to do this. Oh, well, that means we got to redo this and redo that or fix this. So it's the joys of being on a small dev team. So
we did have a couple questions about races. We have 2 races left to implement.
Yep.
Which are the Iconians.
The Iconians,
who are the first sentient race from in the galaxy after the demigods.
That is technically true. Yes. As far as we know, as people who are not godlike and do not own the lore of the game.
As the person who went through and edited all of Brad's text for the lore of Galactic 3.
Yes, the Iconians are technically the first, but time is
there's always
change.
And so they are. I don't know. Tell us about the Iconians.
The Iconians are, they were almost wiped out by the Yor because they built the Yor. The Yor decided they didn't like being owned,
which is why the Yor actually start on Iconia.
Yes, and the Iconians start somewhere else. The Iconians at this point have become a little more reclusive. They're kind of religious. I wouldn't say they're goody two shoes, but they're much more thoughtful and reclusive than other races. We're gonna. Sorry, I'm a little confused because I'm staring at the map. I don't know. They're smart. They're powerful, but they're ancient, so they have a lot of advantages in some of the more subtle texts. They're not super warlike.
Sure.
They're kind of a little bit more like, I guess, the Altarians than anybody else. But yeah, so we're working on the end. Obviously, they're not fans of the Yor. So they'll be coming out. They will not be in Beta 4, even though I kind of wanted them to be. They will be in Beta 5.
And then the final race are the insect dudes.
The Thalian,
Thalans,
yes, which they're not
whatever.
Necessarily insecty, but
They look insect.
they're insecty. They are the final race, and they're kind of pivotal to the campaign. And they will either be in Beta 5 as a playable race, or they might actually wait till the campaign comes in. So we'll see.
There you go. So we do have 2 more races to come in, and they will be coming in soon. Let's see. Oh, will the roadmap on the forums be updated soon? We should totally update that. We have not updated that since
that sounds like a marketing.
It does sound like a marketing problem. Well, Brad also randomly goes and updates it on Saturday night, and then I'm like, what? So
hey Jesse, if you see this, there's apparently what is this? This is a don't know what that is. It's a
Oh,
Starbase.
No, you know what it is? It's a range.
Oh, it's a
range
range
border.
line for me
Yep.
showing, and I would bet the sector, the graphical sector ends right here.
Oh, so like it's not redrawing
so
properly.
yeah,
not
it's like
updating?
going, oh, I've hidden it here, but then and this one's too far away. So, anyways,
There you go.
Jesse's cringing as I try and explain graphical.
People asking what the ETA on the next beta is soon.
Soon,
Sooner
than I would like, just because I need all the time I can get. But
Well, you
yeah,
guys kind of just lost a week out of this game.
yeah, no, we lost. Christmas was kind of painful for me as the designer. I'm like, why doesn't everybody want to work on Christmas? So, but yeah, we're going along. Like I said, the next beta's primary focus is getting the battle viewer in, not perfected, but in and fun, and getting the new ideology system in and fun and tested, and then ton of little changes. I mean, little things like we got different tooltips where like the class and the descriptions are different, and now all the things show how many turns they're going to take. I mean, we're doing a lot of little polished stuff as we move along. And of course, I'm going to probably take another balance pass on the Yor before you guys play them again.
You're kind of always taking another balance pass on something.
Yeah, but the Yor definitely have some problems right now. The assembly thing isn't working out, which I was worried it wouldn't. But now that I've played them for 3 weeks, I definitely feel that it has not worked out.
Senator Kelly says, I see black holes still under the fog of war as a single pixel zoomed far out. Aware of this?
In the existing build?
Yes.
Yes, that is being fixed. As a matter of fact,
All
I
right.
think has been fixed finally. Also, black holes no longer show up as a star. So, so that kind of helps avoid confusion.
So I'm going to go through the lightning round. If you have any more questions, drop them in the chat now. Because I got some questions. We have kind of a ton of questions from the forums. So all right. Sidlor asks, when playing the game where the same main race is being played by multiple players, such as human Altarians and AI Altarians, can we shift the race colors or something a little bit so that
we
don't
will,
literally
yes,
look the
be
same?
supporting that, but probably not right now. That'll go in when we get the custom faction stuff. As a matter of fact, one of the things Brad requested is you'll be able to just say in the map with select opponents, you'll be able to say, "Give me 10."
Oh, sure.
And it'll actually create them if they
Nice.
don't exist. So it'll like go, here's another Drengen, but they're the Drengen, the Frengen, or whatever. So we haven't fleshed it out, but that's what the plan is.
When are we going to be able to add more players to multiplayer games, even if it's only AI players? Because multi is
Do we
only
limit
4
AI?
I
player?
think.
Honestly, I didn't even know we were still limiting AI. I will ask.
That's more of a question for Nathan.
I'm
than
not
anybody.
sure what the I think we said the player cap was 4 or 8. So we're not. I mean, of human players, we're not going to allow like an infinite amount of human players.
Right.
But as far as AI players, you should be able to put as many as you want in.
I know that's the
whatever our
plan.
main
I
cap
think
is.
it might not be. So
But like I
great
said, I
yet,
think it's
but-
disabled right now, probably just for testing. I'll ask about that. Or Nathan, when he hears this, can yell at me and say, "You shouldn't have said that."
He does that to me whenever I say anything about anything technical, so I know how it goes. Let's see.
It's all just revenge for all the times I said that when Brad says things.
Will the UP selections be increased? In a normal game with
Yes.
UP unfrequent, by turn 100 to 150, you have had the chance to vote on almost all of them.
Yes. Yes. We will put in as many as we have time to do, and then we will continue to add them as we, make patches and expansions and DLC. So.
Let's see. What is? Hold on. I had some question from Larson X, and this had come up in the chat earlier. Just as far as AI improvements, when are they coming? Is there any like?
That is Alan and Brad is now on the project, and they are hard at work on AI. You will probably notice a substantial difference in beta 4, but it will not be done. So,
Right. And that's something that AI is always
AI
something we
will
work on
be
forever.
done in 2015 or 2020 when we make the last expansion.
I was gonna say it is
But
2015.
until then, it will just continue to get smarter. Although it's going to make some huge leaps in the next few months. Huge leaps.
Yuck. I actually said yuck not to the AI, but because my brother just texted me about the car pileup on I-94 of over 100 cars here in Michigan, which Allstein had actually mentioned in the chat. So luckily, I don't take I-94 home. Let's see.
100 car? Is the weather like that bad out right
I
now?
don't think it's even that bad. I don't know. Michigan drivers
Yeah.
kind of blow my mind sometimes. I've only been living
Says the
here for a
Minnesota
year.
guy.
Hey, well, Minnesota drivers are actually, they're just really passive aggressive.
Yes.
To be honest with you. Michigan
That
drivers
was
are a
be
lot more
Adam
regular
at Stardock.
Let's see. All right. What is the plan for ship designations, supply, escort, etc.?
Okay, so originally the plan was to make it so you pick a ship, pick a role. So maybe the word designation is a little misleading, but so right now it says assault, default role, assault, interceptor, capital. These things are really now going to be derived by what you put on the ship. So if you put a bunch of support modules on a ship, it's going to be tagged as a support ship, and it's going to behave appropriately. And that's essentially when we bring in our kind of Hearthstone-y battle tactics, where you build your deck of cards. I don't want you to build you won't build something that's super, super, super threatening and then call it like a support ship. So
that the AI won't target it.
yeah, so we're essentially going to, because the combat system is in fact rules-based, we have to make it so you can't flout those rules. The good news is once you get into it, and not even so much in this first beta because a lot of it is still simplified, but once we get into the next beta and get these things fleshed out, you're going to be really meticulous about what ships you put in, what fleet, and the combinations you put in together. So we have to, we can't let you just kind of arbitrarily pick them. You have to actually build them to be what they are. So I don't know if that's a non-answer, but it's kind of the answer. So what we're doing.
All right. Let's see. When I'm building the ship, if I wish to micromanage the use of credits, I have to switch back and forth between the planet screen and the shipyard to see if I'm getting the ship in the right number of turns. Blah, blah, blah. That'll be fixed when overflow is working, because then you won't have to worry.
Well, no, I think what he's saying is he wants to design a ship and go. Well, maybe did he say design or build?
Build.
Oh, he's building a
I
ship.
think he's
So
talking
yeah,
about,
that
like-
would in theory be fixed by the overload.
Right. Well, or at least, like, you'll still have to, if you really want to get it in 3 turns and spend the minimum production to get it in 3 turns, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to micromanage that.
Yeah.
But once, I mean, if your production carries over, it shouldn't be that big a deal. You know, maybe a couple times early in the game, you'll do it for, like, a colony ship or something, if you really care that much. But there you go.
I would like, actually, I mean, I think there are posts on this on the forums. I should look. Maybe a more specific example of what he's trying to do there.
There you go. And the forums are a great place to get those more specific questions out.
And I have to apologize for not being on the forums the last week. You know, first there was Christmas and I was busy and blah, blah, blah. And I got sick, which I know is no excuse to avoid the forums. But then once there's so many and everybody's yelling at me. So I've been really busy trying to actually get stuff in. But I will be back on the forums and paying a little more attention as we move forward here.
What is in store for political parties and governmental systems?
The political parties essentially will be, as you go up, you can pick governments, and the political parties will essentially be bonuses to those governments.
Okay.
So that is a system I really actually wanted to have in already, and we just keep bumping, but hopefully we'll be in for beta 5 for sure.
There you go. Let's see. With the shipbuilder, ever since the new races have opened up in beta, fewer parts are available since they are race specific. Is there any plans to allow custom races to use all parts? Like, yeah, I mean, you can use whatever.
You can
parts
do that
want,
already.
Right? Yeah.
There's a checkbox in advanced, and maybe the problem is people don't know that.
That might be. It could be. We have a UI issue there.
Show parts from other races. Bam.
Bam.
So you won't be able to get to their. We currently do not show their templates. So this is really for people who want to build. So here you go. There's every part, including hidden parts, which maybe we shouldn't show. But yeah, so you can actually grab parts that are component parts. So this is actually what is used for the hyperdrive. I can actually put these on as cosmetic components. And if we really thought that people were going to be misled, we would probably want to disable that. So it's like, oh my God, look at all the hyperdrives that guy has. Why is he only going 1 turn at a time? Even like things like asteroids and stuff are in here. So you want to let go. Where are they? Oh, they probably don't have thumbnails. What's this? Oh, there's a relic model.
Pirates. What up with Pirates?
Pirates also will probably be in beta 5 when they'll come in with minor races.
Oh, there you go. Let's see. Wisdom Hat actually finally came in with a decent question instead of a trolley question. I've been ignoring all of his or her questions in the chat because they were very trolly, but that's okay. Can I set ships to patrol just my territory?
That has been suggested several times, and I really like the idea. It was not planned, but we're going to try and do it. I can't guarantee that it'll be in immediately, but it is on my list of, we should be able to do that.
That's definitely one of those things that I would like to be able to just like grab a fleet and say like,
patrol
this sector or patrol,
Yeah, we'll have essentially. There's a bunch of little commands we could add, and that really is just AI time. Mostly we were like, it wasn't in Galactic 2, so we didn't really think about it. But it's like, that would be nice. There's also this kind of line you always have to walk of. We don't want to encourage the player to be too lazy,
right?
So that's why it's kind of a high hanging fruit where it's like, it'd be nice to get to that.
There is a famously ill-received Space 4X that tried to let players be as lazy as they wanted to, and
there is like a point where it's like, oh, I forgot I have that ship because he's been on patrol for the last 100 turns, right? But it would essentially be a combination of like Century. We actually might just Century or Guard, where it's like patrol around and then ping me if you run into anybody.
Right.
So that's kind of I would love to add that. It's just a matter of finding time to do it, and there's bigger fish to fry for the moment. So.
Indeed. I love this question actually because I would love this too in the game. Will we be able to make and name regions of space? I would totally love that. I always thought
regions of space.
Regions of space, yeah.
Oh, you mean like in a map editor?
Well, not even in the map editor, but just in games.
Oh,
Just plot basically.
Yeah. Draw lines. This is the darks, the core. Yeah. That would be sexy. We wanted to do that in Elemental, and we didn't even do it in Elemental.
It's like the one feature that didn't actually go.
I'll add that to my wish list. It would be. I mean, that sounds like a polished thing, or maybe even an expansion thing. But it would be neat. It's just kind of It's like It's like most people wouldn't use it. So that's the problem. So we'd have to then name things like come up with stamps or whatever, some sort of system where it's like, if there's nothing around for 100 tiles, call this area the void. So it's not as, unfortunately, it's a really trivial little neat thing that would create a bunch of work. Right. So that is why we currently don't have anything.
It's always one of my favorite. I was always surprised at how much flavor it added to Alpha Centauri. Yeah. With like the different like name things, and they had gameplay effects too, though some of them.
Well, no, we can do that. Like, I mean, what I'd like to be able to name nebulas and things like that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Those are really, we'll see. Lots of stuff to do still.
Yeah, it's just like, especially with big ass maps, like it can make it a lot easier to parse what's going on and remember like, oh yeah, well that's the guy next to the horse, that's my colony next to the Horsehead Nebula, that's my whatever.
Yeah, but then do we have to make sure the Horsehead Nebula looks like a horse head?
Well, do you?
I don't know.
I mean, can't you just
No. It would be nice actually to get naming on some of the things, the black holes.
We have 10,000 or whatever names that were submitted to us already that you could just plop in there.
That we get people yelling at us that they don't like them. We're still making passes on the names, so anybody who really has an objection, we might have already cleaned up that name, but that's the joy of random names. And I'll tell you right now, there are real stars out there named stupid names by real scientists. And we don't want to essentially offend the people who paid good money to have their star name in.
Right.
We'll clean them up. We'll clean them up as much as possible.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week on the Galciv 3 stream. Thank you all so much for joining us. A little sneak peek at Beta 4 here. Sorry we didn't get the Battle Viewer. I know it's been...
Next week, I hope next week. If not, the week after that for sure.
I was going to say, you're running out of weeks there, Paul.
Yeah, I know.
So, anyway... sorry if we didn't get to your question. We try to get to them all, but it's just not ultimately totally possible for doing so every week.
I really love these York colors.
I love the colors in the UI. Finally getting the colors in the UI is so nice.
Yes. Okay, here, there's a hotly debated thing.
Okay.
The desaturated colors of the main surface.
Yes.
You like?
They're pretty desaturated, especially in the purple.
Yes.
Like this purple goes almost all the way to gray.
Yes, that's on purpose.
I don't know.
I can make it darker. The
You know,
problem
honestly,
is
I'd
it's
have to
the
spend
whole
more time playing it.
Yeah, play us a couple races. I mean, the good news is it's a number. We can change it.
Sure.
But the reason we did that was to pull focus to all of the important things. Whereas when the line work is really bright, it kind of hides things. That said, maybe what I need to do is instead of desaturating, make them a little darker. But the problem is dark purple is a very difficult color to look at.
Right.
So
And it's not going to pop off the black.
yeah,
as
so
the
we have.
Starfield
So
anyway.
it's not as easy as all that to just. But we'll keep polishing the colors until we ship.
All right.
So.
But anyway, colors in the UI. It's
Yes.
2015, and we have colors in our UI, and life is good.
Yes.
We'll be back next week, hopefully with the Battle Viewer, like I said. Another sneak peek of Beta 4. Beta 4 should be coming sooner than you think. It's coming very soon. So that'll be coming. I'm working on a bunch of stuff for upcoming Stardock games right now that I'm super excited about. So Gal Civ 3 and Sorcerer King are far from the only things that we got going on.
The only thing that mattered to me.
Well, you kind of live and breathe Gal Civ
I live
here
and
for the
breathe Gal
next
Civ.
foreseeable
I hear
future,
there's
so.
a bunch of stuff going on next month that
Oh, man.
is apparently not related to me. I don't understand how that happens.
So much stuff.
Give me all of the developers and all of the money, please.
That's right. All right.
I will find a use for them.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next
See
week.
you next week.